Hello, my name is KOKETSO and I'm a medical student at the University of Free State. Many of you watching this video get distinctions in physics, maths, business studies, history, but the one subject that they find quite difficult to get a distinction for is English. So, in this video series, I'm going to be giving you study tips for English because for my prelim examinations, I got 93% for English home language. So, this video will be giving tips on English home language paper 1, the next video will be paper 3, and the next video after that will be paper 2. And the video that comes right after that will be English first additional language, because I did English home language, so I could only have asked people for tips on first additional language, and I hope that these videos are going to help you and that these tips are going to help you excel in English as well. Now let's be honest, getting a distinction for English home language is quite difficult, right? If you do English home language, you can probably attest to it's one of the most difficult subjects to get a distinction for. It's much easier to get a distinction for mathematics or for physics or for tourism or for history or for business studies than it is to get a distinction for English home language or any home language for that case. Whether it's Xhosa home language, whether it's Afrikaans home language, the moment it's home language, you know it's that much difficult, right? And in this video, I want to make sure that you know that you're well equipped to go and tackle that paper and possibly bring a distinction home. So I asked a couple of friends to help me out, people who got distinctions for English as well, people who got distinctions for English home language in IEB and in CAPS, and I was able to generate these tips that I've written down based on English home language for the CAPS curriculum. So if you do IEB, what I'm saying might probably be in paper 2, it might probably be in paper 3, but it does apply the very same way. So the very first tip of this video is that practice makes perfect, and you want to do as many past papers as possible, right? Do as many past papers as possible and do your comprehension. It does feel quite weird to say that you should do English past papers because you feel like if you listened in class and if you studied, then you probably know the job. But the main fact that you are struggling to get a distinction for English probably means that you're not as good as you probably think that you are. So you need to practice an awful lot. You need to get yourself accustomed and used to how they ask questions in an exam. Don't sleep on a comprehension. It's easy to get 7 out of 20 for an English home language comprehension. It's that difficult, right? Because you read it, it makes sense, you think you know what you're saying, but then you look at the mark allocation and it does not really align with what you've written. And that's why it gets a bit tricky. But don't worry, because in this video I'm going to make sure that when you leave here, you're well equipped to get like 90% for your English if you implement everything here perfectly. And something that's very important for you to notice is that study guides and all of that will not really help you if you don't know how to answer the actual question, which is where doing past papers helps you. When you look at a past paper, it's trying to teach you how to think like the examiner. Because when you look at the memorandum, you actually see that the way that they structure their answers or the way that they structure the things that they say there, it's not really the same as the way that you think. It might be similar, but definitely not the same. And the best part that I love about English and any language subject for that fact is that I was told by my English teacher that the English memorandum changes literally every single day. So English is such a creative language that, you know, it's not like maths and physics where if the answer is 4, then it's going to remain 4 for the entire marking process. With English, like when you look at your poems and stuff like that, one teacher might interpret it like this. And then when they mark and they look at your paper, then they see something creative that you thought, this student actually said that when they saw this, this is what they thought. This thing might be added onto the memo, so the memo changes every day. It's such a creative subject that if you allow yourself to be able to think the way that the examiner thinks, which is doing past papers and looking at memorandums after having practiced the questions, it's going to make the job that much easier. And the next tip is that you want to master the question words and answer what they ask of you. So with English home language, there's a very big difference between justify, substantiate, explain, elaborate. I've forgotten what the other ones are. But when they say substantiate, when they're saying that you should say what your point is and give proof. So you give it substance, you substantiate, you bring proof. To justify is to just say why. Like, why are you saying that? Justify your argument. There's a difference between these words, and it's very important for you to understand that when they say I should substantiate and it's for 2 marks, they definitely want me to say something and then give the proof to say, the writer feels like this. It is shown in the passage, then you bring your quote here. That's you substantiating, saying that yes, I'm saying this is what I stand for, but this is why. This is where I saw it. So understanding these question words and understanding that, okay, when they ask for this, then I give them this. It's very important to answer what is being asked, not what you think is being asked. Which is something that ties very beautifully to the next thing that I want to say, which is that you want to master the mark allocations now. You want to master the mark allocations to ensure that when you answer your questions, you are answering with quality over quantity. I mean, yes, we always say that it's better to say more of what's required than to say less. But what's the point of saying more if you're saying a whole lot of nothing? It doesn't help at all. Like, it literally does not help. You know, there are questions like, if I can remember at the top of my head, I think the last question of a comprehension in English home language says, is it a comprehension? Yeah, I think. So there'll be text A, which is your comprehension, and text B, sometimes probably a cartoon that somehow relates to text A. And that question will be 4 marks, that last question. And it says, when you compare text, don't quote me verbatim, I last did this thing like three years ago, so I might not be sure. But yes, when they say, if you compare this thing, if you compare text A and text B, where do you see the similarity or the differences and why? And you see 4 marks. You can't just say text A and B both show politicians. Yo, you're gonna get 1 mark. Like, be serious, be for real. You're gonna get 1 mark. This thing is 4 marks. The first mark, you speak about text A. Text A speaks about KOKETSO, who's a politician at the University of Free State. 1 mark. Text B speaks about I think of a name, man. It speaks about John Stevens, who is a 23-year-old who loves to explore things and this. That's 2 marks. The third mark, where's the similarity between these two? Both KOKETSO and Stevens are people that might have an interest in politics because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then your last mark now is you concluding and tying the points together, which shows that text A and B are both sending the same message that says. So your 4 marks there, it's very well calculated, and you can only know that when you do many past papers and look at your memorandums. That text, when they say compare text A and B, first mark, speak about text A. Second mark, speak about text B. Third mark, why are you saying they're the same? And then fourth mark, tie them together and give a conclusion to say, okay, this is what I stand for and why. Now in the CAPS curriculum, language is also part of paper 1. And is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, in CAPS home language, it's part of paper 1. So now another thing that you want to do is you want to know your language. I don't know whether you call them language themes, but those elements are language. You want to know them. Your onomatopoeia, your figures of speech. You want to know your direct and indirect speech. You want to know the difference between an apostrophe and a colon. No, an apostrophe and a quotation mark. A colon and a semicolon. A dash and a hyphen. To say where is which one used. There's a very big difference between a dash and a hyphen. So such things, you need to know the difference. You need to know the difference to say, okay, because they want to ask you, what does an apostrophe do? It shows ownership, that's one thing. When you say KOKETSO's car, KOKETSO's house, and manifest. But yes, and it also does the second function. I think it's what does it do? Okay, it shows function, it shows ownership. I forgot what else. Oh yes, and it abbreviates. So when you say don't, that do not. Those are the only 2 uses of an apostrophe. If you have the third one, please, I dare you to put on the comments. Speak a sign now. But either way, so that's what I'm saying. You want to learn your language. You want to master your language elements. You want to know all of them because you obviously know that they're going to come. Like, there's no way that you're going to go to a paper and at no point there they're going to ask you things like redundancy, tautology, stuff like that. You want to know and understand all of these things. Look at the study guides. I think for English home language, it's the red and yellow book. Is it Kevin something? It can't be, is it Kevin Smith? Yeah, something like that. So use that guide. Use that guide. Look at there, okay, I'm supposed to know tautology, I'm supposed to know redundancy, I'm supposed to know what's a paradox, I'm supposed to know propaganda, all of those things. Understand those words, understand how to identify such things and how to fix them. And then when it comes to your cartoons and advertisements, it's very important for you to know how to analyze them. Again, how do you gain the skill? By doing past papers. If you do past papers, you are teaching yourself how to analyze cartoons, how to analyze adverts. Because I promise you, keep it in mind, literally keep it in. The moment you open your question paper and you get to the section that has your advert or your cartoon, remember that KOKETSO said, everything is the way that it is for a reason. Everything is that way for a reason. There's a reason why the caption of Nothing Beats a Jet Holiday is in capital letters, and it's because that's being highlighted. Why? I mean, if we wrote in color, something would be red. Why is it red? It pops out. Why is this? They can even ask. The entire text can be on white sheet and written in black text, and then one word or one line is written on black and it's in white. Why is that so? Why are they emphasizing? Why is it different to that? Emphasize. They're trying to emphasize it, right? So if they ask you, Jorge, why is it that every word is in lowercase letters and this one word is in capital? They're trying to emphasize it, you know, stuff like that. Like literally everything is there for a reason. Even something like, please forgive me if anyone does take offense. They can do something like maybe in a cartoon where everyone's name is in lowercase letters, and then for someone who's quite big, they write it in capital letters, and then you get asked, why do you think Betty's name is in capital letters? Think about it, dog. Look at Betty and then you decide, oh, maybe that's that. Like, it's very important to realize that in a cartoon and an advert, every single thing is there for a reason. Nothing is there because of boredom or whatever. Because, like, for example, in a cartoon, there was one cartoon that I think we did our prelims or something, where literally every single frame in the cartoon was in a frame, and then frame number 7 or something had no frame. Why is that so? I'm trying to think, dog. Because in the other frames, the characters were talking, and then in this one, they're not talking, they're thinking. So, you know, when you're thinking, think out of the box, so there's no box. Such things, like, be able to think like that. But the only way that you're able to think like that is by practicing and doing a lot of past papers. So I dare you, do a lot of past papers. Read the memo, understand why they answered the question the way they did, because everything in English home language is there for a reason. And now with English comprehension, not usually, that's how it should be. If it's not, there's something wrong. The questions, the order of the questions follows the order of the text. So if question 1 was in paragraph 1, and you're now looking for the answer for question 2, it can't possibly in paragraph 9. Come on, KOKETSO. It's somewhere there. Can be paragraph 3, paragraph 2, but usually the question order is following the passage order. So don't spend your time trying to look and scan. No, I promise you. And one thing that I did, which turns out many people that I know did as well, during the reading time, 10 minutes of reading time for an exam, read that passage, read your comprehension, read with understanding, and then right after reading it, then read your questions, and then you come back and you read it now looking for the answers. That's one method. Other people say that they read the questions first and then they read the passage, so that when they're reading now, they're answering questions. You find that the first question says, what's the name of the company that was opened by KOKETSO? And then you start reading the text and it says, KOKETSO is a 99-year-old who has a company called this. That's that answer there. Where did you see it? In question 1. Why? It's because it's part of the first things that they're saying, because the order follows the order of this thing. So you can't possibly be looking for the question, the answer to question 3 when there are 20 questions. You look at it on the last paragraph. There's something wrong. The only way that this thing ever works, that the order does not really matter, is this format question that I spoke about, where they say compare text A to text B. Because when they say text A, they're talking about the entire text, not just the last paragraph. Look at the entire text. What is the main idea compared to text B? And then these two, where are they similar? Where are they different? And then argue your point. 4 marks. Go home. And the last point that I have for today's video is you want to be able to differentiate between frequently asked things. For example, I remember only towards the prelims did I understand the difference between a tone and a mood. They usually ask it in poems, they ask it in cartoons. Yeah, they do ask it in cartoons. So there's a very big difference in between a tone and a mood. A tone, you know, when you talk to someone and they're like, I don't like that tone. A tone is what you give, like what you say. Get tone into it. The tone that the person speaks about. So you can ask, comment about the tone of speaker A in this passage. So you are saying, speaker A speaks in a very loud voice, in aggressive sense, in this, in that, and that. So you're commenting on tone. How is something said? How is something put out? And then a mood is after that thing has been put out. How is it received? Like, how do we feel? How about a comment? They will never say comment on the mood of speaker A, but you can comment on the tone of speaker A. But the mood is the atmosphere to say, okay, speaker A has said, all rise in court, right? What is the mood now? The mood of the what is everyone is somber, everyone is scared, everyone is happy, people are excited. It's a mood of jubilance. It's a mood of triumph. A mood, you're describing an atmosphere, but then a tone, you're describing how something is said. You can read the advert maybe. Describe the tone of the advert. The tone of the advert is very persuasive. It's very direct. So that's what you take from it. It comes across as direct, persuasive. This. Comment on the mood of the advertisement. Yeah, the mood, like after you've heard that it's very direct, how does it feel? To me, it does not really feel like an advert that I'd really follow. It does not feel like. So that's the difference. Know those differences, tone and mood, know those differences. Be able to contrast between these different words. If you know that there are words that you often get wrong or things that are frequently asked, look at them, understand them, and know that if you are asked this thing tomorrow, you're definitely getting every single mark of it. And so, thank you for watching this video. This has been KOKETSO, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down in the comment section what other videos you want to see, and let's keep popping and topping. Otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe yet again. Stay happy and healthy, and peace.